Hello you all, I'm BlaqueWitchYaya. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And in this video, we are specifically going to talk about you and your name. Just how the time we were born, the day we were born, the date, the month, the location, the person who birthed us all has an important meaning and shapes our characteristics of who we are as a person through our zodiac, our moon sign, rising sign, all that good stuff. So does our name. And for this video specifically, I am just referring to first names due to the fact for a lot of us, we will not know our original last name. We carry the last name that was given to us through slavery, but that's a different video for a different day. But for this video, I wanted to do the powerful meaning, spiritual aspect, and purpose of your name. Now, due to the fact that there are millions and trillions of versions of names in the world, I won't get into the specifics on certain names, but I want to go over the general aspect of names. So some of us, our parents may have a very interesting story as to why they gave us the name, where the name came from. We may be named after someone, a close friend or a family member, but no matter how your name came about, your name chose you, and there's a specific purpose and reasoning behind your name. The crystal of the day is the lepidolite. I like to call this the moon nugget. It releases and removes old dysfunctional behavior and psychological patterns and gently introduce an overall change. Experience deep emotional healing in a new, stress-free, happier lifestyle. And you can get your moon nugget from BlaqueWitchYaya.com. For my parents, for example, they were stuck between three names, and the two names that I didn't get were Diane and Raven. And sometimes I think, like, if my name was Raven, I would have a totally different life. I just feel like our names is just the starting part and the starting stone to us really experiencing life, if that makes sense. Like, I just feel like if my name was Raven, I wouldn't be me. I would have a totally different lifestyle, totally different personality. I wouldn't be BlaqueWitchYaya. Like, I feel like I'll just be a different person just because I feel like our names have that much impact on the development of who we become later on in life. Like, imagine my name being Raven. Like, that's so weird. Like, I feel like Raven would be a totally different version of me. So for my real name, it is in the nature name category. And along in this category, if you know anyone, or if your name is Rose, Violet, Daisy, Sunflower, River, whatever, it is considered a nature name. So the elements in nature will somehow have an effect on your life as an individual, no matter how small or how big. For myself, I am named after a flower, and when I read the attributes of that specific flower in the context of the different people who are named that, I'm like, okay, that's exactly it. Just how with our zodiac, we may have characteristics that don't match us, but we may have characteristics that do. In doing that, we are able to better understand who we are now and who we will become. Now, there are some people who may not like their name. You may feel like your name is old. You may feel like it doesn't fit you. And there are also some people who decide to change their name. I know, if I'm speaking correctly, with the transgender community, they consider it their dead name because they are no longer that specific person. And that goes for even if you're just changing your name because you don't like it, or you're going by something else on your social media. That name plays a part into the role that you are stepping into, or the person that you present online or to other people, or the new identity that you want to create for yourself. Now, for me, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I always think about what other name do I think I could go by that would fit me, and I know I would be completely different. But for myself, I feel if my name was Daphne, I would be the same person. Just because I feel like Daphne has the same vibration as my name. So I'm like, okay, Daphne, I could see myself being named Daphne and still having the same life, even though it would be completely different just because our names are the titles to our life. So changing the title changed the entire book as well. Oftentimes as well, going back to parents, the names that they give their children are a reflection of what they desire that child's life to be. Sometimes they may choose a name where they can't have an ugly nickname and get picked on at school. Sometimes they choose a name because they see so many powerful figures in that role have that name. Or sometimes they choose a name just because it's simple and easy and they want them to be able to spell their name in kindergarten. Or sometimes they'll choose a name that's so unique that no other child will have it, so it's uniquely made for them. No matter what what process you go through, just know for me, I feel like it's a ritual when you're naming a child, just because you're setting up their destiny. And I find it just so harmonious that the name is already set and ready for them. Like the universe already knows what you're going to name that child and what that child is going to develop. So I feel like our names are already pre-selected for us. It's just a matter of how the message gets delivered to our parents, our grandparents, our aunts, or whoever names us. For example, you're at work and your manager says, hey, we have a new person starting in HR today. Her name is Elizabeth. That vibration of the name is immediately going to become a description and a character in your head. You're going to see how they look in your mind, how they act, how they sound, how they walk, and would you get along with them just by their name. So before we even enter into a room, our name has a vibration. Also, when we are no longer here, all that is left is our name and our memory. So it carries a vibration before we enter a room, and it carries a vibration when we are no longer physically here as well. Just how if you have an aunt or uncle, a grandparent who is passed along and you see someone else with their name, you're going to immediately think of that family member or that loved one, just because that name still carries a vibration and a meaning to you. So the name that you give a person is setting a tone not only for the rest of their life, but even in the afterlife as well. And when I stated before, I feel like when names are being selected or created, it's a ritual process. Just how when you name something that may be inanimate, it's still bringing life to that object. We may name our plants because we care for them so much. We're going to take care of them. We want to see them grow, prosper, be all nice and green and chlorophyll-y. If we name our car because we're just so happy to have the car, we're going to take care of it. If we name our wigs because we feel like a different person when we have the wig on, no matter what you name, once you give an identity and a purpose to something, it's now going to breathe life, even if it's technically a lifeless object. You're creating a story behind it, and you're creating a foundation for that person or for that object. And just to show how powerful names are, like I always say, there has to be a balance. So sometimes names may not be that good. When someone calls you out of your name, you find that disrespectful, like, hey, I have a name, utilize it, it's there for a reason. Or when you get picked on when you're younger, you may say, they called me names. Those names that are given have emotions as well, along with the vibration. So just how when you hear someone's name, there's an emotion that comes along with it, with the vibration. Just how if you hear your boyfriend's, your girlfriend's, or your partner's name, you may start to blush like, oh, my boyfriend name is that, or my girlfriend name is that. Or if you, like I said before, see the name of someone who passed along, you may get a sad feeling or immediately start reflecting, all from a simple name. When you think about it, a name is just something you put on a name badge on your driver's license and you're good to go. But when you really reflect and pay attention to the feelings that you get from when you hear your name, you hear others' name, you will see the meaning and the power that's behind it. Just how I believe with manifestations, you sign your name at the bottom just because you want that manifestation to be identified with you, and you had the power to create those words, and it's your creation. So you're going to sign, seal, deliver it to make sure that you know where it's going. Just how when you have to sign contracts, you have to sign your name because your name has power. It has validation behind it. So if you haven't already, I'm sure most of us have, search your name and find the meaning behind it and see how it correlates to your life. If you have a unique name that may not be Googleable, ask your mom, your dad, or whoever named you, what feelings did they have when they named you? Why did they choose that certain spelling? Where were they when they came up with that name? Did they hear it? Did they have a dream about it? Just so you could understand the context behind your creation and your development. And by doing that, it'll better help you understand yourself, because once you know yourself, you know your name, you know your purpose, you are able to navigate a little bit easier through life. So once you do that, if you don't mind sharing down below, if you already know the meaning behind your name or how it was created, let me know down below. Do you have a nature name like myself? Can you relate to it? Have you ever thought about changing your name? Have you changed your name? If so, why? Let's have a conversation down below. And like I always say, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Until next time, you guys, Ashe, baby. BlaqueWitchYaya, mama.